Land on the ground, it creates a problem. Before, it takes the energy from the sea, pulls all the water, all the heat and everything in the water, it pulls it up. Once it pulls it up, take that in the cloud, it builds up the pressure. And sometimes you can see that little funnel coming down from the clouds. You can see that little tail coming down. In the water, when it's in the water, it'll be a water spout. But when it comes on land, it becomes what? A tornado. It starts ripping up and tearing up trees and so forth. But like I said, now, when you look at places that is happening with these tornadoes or touching down, when you look at the landscape, you can see that you can see the landscape that they have, the landscape that they had a lot. If you go back in history, to find out that the places them had a lot of pine trees back in the day. In the early 1700s, places with cluttered pine trees all over. And then what they did, as the development came, they cut down the pine trees, they cut it down, build a very small shopping centers or whatever they wanted to build, right? Clear them out. So now you're leaving a hard ground with nothing there, no trees, no nothing. You got some places only a little bit of grass, like the prairie grass. That can't slow the tornado down that what they need to do. So what happens is the tornado comes down from the high heat of the high heat. You know, I like to talk about updraft and downdraft, bouncing off the ground like somebody bouncing a basketball. Boom, 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 right? And so that's the draft dropping down and bouncing back up. Now, in the sea, you don't feel it as much. I remembered when I was in that podcast I did, and that podcast I did called Boom Boom Boom, right? The boom boom boom. When I was in the aircraft, when we flew in over the sea, I didn't feel this boom 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 boom. I can feel it because it was bouncing in the water. The heat was bouncing in the water, but the water still being heated from it, but I couldn't feel it. But once I came over the Caribbean pine trees, I feel the boom, 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 boom. What the heat bouncing off the body of the aircraft. Boom, boom, boom. And you remember I said that the pilot said he don't like flying in this kind of time because he either fly early in the morning or late in the evening. And now I understand why, because what? The force is so strong. So what happened is when the twisters comes down, when the twist system comes down from the sky, in the sea, it'd be water spout, like a big round funnel and so forth, sucking up pressure, building up for hurricanes. Then now when it come on land, it become a twister, it tears up trees and different things. So like I said to you again, when we go to the United States, looking at it, United States has a lot of pine forests. Back in the 1700s and so forth, there are a lot of pine forests. And they went and they clear out a lot of pine forests. And when they cut these pine trees out, and they now build their infrastructures, homes, buildings, whatever, airports, etc., 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 right? Now what happens is, you change the chemistry of the land. The land works with trees, it's for building of land, trees for rain, looking at the Caribbean trees, or when I say the Caribbean trees, something gets mixed up in terms of what I like the Caribbean trees. The pine trees regulates the temperature, regulates the rain. You know, because in the pine forest, it's be hot. When it's hot, it's hot. And when it's cold, it's cold. So it regulates. So everything is working in the ground. So when you move those trees, you have an imbalance. And now, because of the trees being moved, now you have what? Tornadoes, them comes down and tearing up the land because the land has only a lot of tar on the ground and concrete and different things. Yes. When the heat bounces off in the tornado, it normally goes into the ground. Because the fire, like I said, the benefits of fire, the fire is what? The fire is for burning up everything else and making